What's the difference between discuss and evaluate? The words discuss and evaluate are ones that you commonly see on an essay question or assignment brief. These types of words are sometimes referred to as task words. They are the part of the essay question that tell you what you have to do, as opposed to the parts that tell you about the topic or focus of the question. It's important to be able to recognise these task words, but you also need to understand the differences between them and what each one is asking of you. It can be helpful to think of these task words on a sliding scale, going from relatively straightforward to more complex and difficult. Task words such as describe are asking you to do quite a simple thing, and then instructions like discuss, explore, or argue are asking for something a little more considered. At the end of the scale are task words like analyse, evaluate, and critique. If we take these one at a time, the differences between these instructions will hopefully become clearer. Describe is obviously quite straightforward. You're being asked to tell the reader about a topic, perhaps using definitions. Discuss or explore then require another level of thought. Here you're being asked to consider a topic from different positions. For instance, if you're writing a nursing essay and are asked to discuss why intentional rounding has been introduced as a change initiative in the NHS, the marker will be expecting you to consider a variety of reasons, perhaps with a conclusion that suggests what the most significant reasons are. However, it's important to note that if you are asked to discuss or explore a topic, you don't necessarily need to provide a definitive answer, and it's most likely that there isn't one. You're instead being asked to show your awareness of a variety of academic arguments, theories, or research that exists around a particular point, and to write about how these relate. If it's the case that there is no clear-cut single answer to the question, it's better to acknowledge this and to show your awareness of the complexity of the topic. So if we move on to evaluate as a task word, we can see that this is slightly different again. Here our question might be, evaluate the effectiveness of intentional rounding as a change initiative in the NHS. In this instance, rather than providing information, describing, or looking at the various reasons why this might have been introduced, discussing, the marker is looking for an evaluation or critical assessment of how effective this change has been. This means you'll need to look at academic or clinical research reporting on the different strengths or weaknesses of this approach. What has been positive about this initiative, and what are its flaws? Is it problematic in any way? Here, a slightly more complex skill is required, as you need to be able to weigh up different pieces of evidence and look at an issue from multiple angles. To develop your evaluation further, you may also want to think critically about the research that you're using. If you find a study that shows intentional rounding is effective, but the research was carried out in a small ward, not many patients participated, you would evaluate this as probably being a weaker piece of research than a larger study that had more participants, surveyed multiple hospitals, for example. As before, it is unlikely that you will find a clear answer. For instance, that intentional rounding is always effective. It is more likely that the question has been set deliberately because it is a complex topic, and you're being asked to show skills in considering appropriate evidence in an objective way. It's vitally important you can tell the difference between these different task words and the kind of skills they require, as they usually carry different weight in a mark scheme. To go back to the example of the nursing question, the full version is this. Intentional rounding is a change initiative within the NHS. Briefly describe how it is implemented, discuss why it was introduced, and evaluate its effectiveness. As we can see, there are 3 task words: describe, discuss, and evaluate. It's likely that this question has been constructed in this way as it will help the marker see which are the more able students. Students who are struggling to answer the question will most likely be able to describe the initiative, and they may manage some discussion. Stronger students will be able to describe, discuss, and evaluate. It's also important to dedicate more space to the parts of the question that carry more marks. Here, evaluate, as a lot of students answering a question like this may spend too much time describing and only leave a small amount of room at the end of the essay to evaluate. As evaluation is the most complex part of this process, and also would need the most amount of words to do it well, it's important to allocate enough space for this. In summary, always look out for the task words within a question. Think about what they're asking you to do, and consider which task is worth the most marks.